Well, this is embarrassing.
With the 2002 classic.
Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets is both the second installment of Harry Potter and the Wizarding World franchise. Whenever I ask someone their opinion about this movie, I'm always intrigued because opinions are all over the board when it comes to this film. I know some people who love it. I also know some people who hate it. I also know some people who are right down the middle and think it's just fine. But I also know people who are somewhere in between those three categories. My opinion over the years when it's come to this movie has also been all over the board. I have loved it over the years. I have liked it over the years. I have thought it was just okay over the years. Just to go back to loving it whenever I rewatch it. So, rewatching it now with a critical mindset, my unlikely opinion has come to the conclusion that I absolutely love this film. I think it is so entertaining, so interesting, and I think it holds up really well. This film starts off by showing us two big developments since the Sorcerer's Stone. For one, Harry seems to have gotten a bit more respect from the Dursleys as he's upgraded from a closet under the stairs to his cousin's second bedroom. You know, it's the little things in this movie that are hilarious. And the effects have improved massively since the first film, as we are introduced to Dobby the House Elf, voiced by Toby Jones, who is doing everything in his power to ensure that Harry misses Hogwarts this year, as there is a plot against him. But when Ron, Fred, and George rescue Harry from his relatives, we are introduced to a whole new personal side to the wizarding world, like the ever-lovable and quirky rest of the Weasley family, the arrogant and bigoted Malfoys, and the goofy and boastful Gilderoy Lockhart, author of a dozen autobiographical adventures, played with the absolute perfect amount of self-aware comedy by Kenneth Branagh. After reuniting with Hermione and arriving back at Hogwarts, the trio makes their way from class to class. And this is where I thought the big issue of the pacing from the last movie was going to happen again with this movie, where it's just a whole bunch of Hogwarts time where we spend from class to class with no real progression of the story. But in this film, that actually doesn't happen. The story in this film is surprisingly tight, even for its long runtime. Every scene is actually important, even the most minute and simple scenes that seem like they were just there for the sake of padding out the runtime come back into the story in crucial ways. But there's not much time for meandering anyway, as Harry can apparently hear a voice inside the walls that only he can hear. This happens throughout the film, and as he follows the voice, never finding out who or what it is, he does come across multiple victims of petrification. Someone is after the non-pure-blooded wizards of the school and has unleashed a monster from the Chamber of Secrets to purge the school. And here we come across another improvement upon the first film, the mystery. Because in the first film, since the mystery wasn't the 100% focus, we could never get 100% invested in it. And along with the fact that the stakes weren't really that high and there was only one red herring suspect, it wasn't that interesting of a chase. Here, not only is the mystery the whole focus of the film, not only are the stakes horrifically high, but the mystery builds on top of itself, with multiple suspects entering the conversation, from Draco to Hagrid to even Harry at one point. Yeah, when Harry reveals to his entire class that he can talk to snakes, suspicions grow around him as the only known wizard to be able to do this was the founder of Slytherin House, who built the chamber. So throughout the movie, there is a ton of conflict, both internal and external, and it makes the film 10 times more interesting. But when the diary of someone named Tom Marvolo Riddle is found, the book itself shows Harry what happened the last time the chamber was opened. The monster of the chamber killed a young girl, and Riddle turned in a young Hagrid as he was harboring a beast of his own that he was trying to sneak around the castle. When Hagrid is arrested under suspicion of doing so again, Harry and Ron follow the trail of Hagrid's old pet beast into the Forbidden Forest and come across Aragog and the Acromantulas, aka an entire forest of nope. I'm not afraid of spiders or anything, but the mix of practical effects and CGI plus the creepy, crinkly sound designs just nope. Look, the point is, they find out Hagrid's innocent, Aragog isn't the Chamber of Secrets monster, and can we just cut away from this scene, please? Phew. Okay, so after the trio minus one Hermione finds out that the creature is a basilisk, a giant snake that kills you the moment you look at it, but because no one actually looked at it, everyone was just petrified, they not only discover that Ginny, Ron's little sister, has been taken to the chamber, but they also find out that Lockhart is a fraud, having stolen the ideas for his books from multiple different wizards and then erased their memories of their adventures. And after Harry and Ron drag him along and discover the entrance to the chamber, he tries to do the same thing to them, but the spell backfires, causing a ruckus that separates Harry from Ron and Lockhart, the latter of which has lost his memory. And it's around this time that I start to notice a pattern involving the overall story. And that pattern being, this is pretty much the exact same overall story as the first film. Harry is magically saved from the Dursleys. He goes into a Diagon Alley shop of exposition. There's a Quidditch game where one of the objects tries to kill him. The trio solves a mystery involving a passage within Hogwarts, and within that passage, Harry is separated from the rest of the group so that he can face the threat single-handedly. In fact, John Williams' score, for as awesome as it is pretty much copied half the time straight from the first film, and Chris Columbus's direction, although his returning keeps with continuity of that first film, keeps within the fact that this movie pretty much has the exact same tone as that first film as well. So many times, it's hard to tell one from the other, which, to be fair to all of the following films that each had their own director with their own unique vision, this never happened there to the extent that it happens in Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets. So with Harry at the centerpiece of the chamber, aka one of the best sets I've seen in any movie, he finds Ginny nearly dead on the floor, her energy being drained to give life to Tom Riddle. Yes, the teenager from way back in the past was the one who originally opened the Chamber of Secrets, and to make sure that his legacy lived on, he placed part of his soul into the diary. After Ginny received the diary, he possessed her to unlock the chamber once more. And it doesn't stop there. To one-up the Voldemort twist of the last film, in one of the coolest yet stupidest reveals ever, Tom Marvolo Riddle literally spells out his name, then jumbles it around to reveal that an anagram of his name is actually I am Voldemort. And I'm not gonna lie, I mean, we'll get to Ralph Fiennes' performance later on as Voldemort, but Christian Coulson is super underrated in this movie, in my opinion. He's a master manipulator. He has an air of domineering presence to him. He has all the slimy and evil tendencies of the Voldemort we would come to know, with none of the makeup, none of the weird voice, and just looking like a normal teenager, with all of those threatening aspects. So Riddle unleashes the basilisk, which, again, is a beautiful mixture of practical and CGI effects that hold up remarkably well, and Harry must now fight it off. How? Deus Ex Machina, of course. Oh yeah, you thought the love excuse was bad in the first film. Well, half of this movie is just Deus Ex Machinas, and the worst ones are in the last 20 minutes. Dumbledore's pet phoenix Fox happens to show up just in the nick of time to give Harry the sword of Gryffindor and blind the basilisk. And after Harry kills the basilisk, while getting stabbed with one of the snake's venomous fangs, it turns out phoenix tears can cure anything. Because why the hell not? Harry stabs the diary with the broken off fang, killing this version of Voldemort. Ginny wakes up and is back to full health, and Fox flies Lockhart, Ron, Harry, and Ginny out of the chamber. Because of course phoenixes can lift heavy loads. Afterwards, when Draco's father, Lucius Malfoy, played by Oscar Isaac, visits the school, accompanied by Dobby as he is enslaved to work for the Malfoys, Harry confronts him and believes that Lucius planted Tom Riddle's diary with the rest of Ginny Weasley's school supplies back in Diagon Alley. When Lucius gives the diary to Dobby to carry, Dobby opens it up to reveal a sock inside, placed there by Harry. For when a house elf is presented clothes by their master, they are set free. So, how does anyone with a house elf do laundry? Angered, Lucius charges Harry with his wand and shouts, Avada! But before he can finish, Dobby blasts him to the other side of the hallway. Remember this moment. It will come back into play later on and will only raise more questions about the scene and will make the scene even more stupid. So the petrified victims are turned back to normal. Lockhart is placed in an insane asylum in one of the most unnecessary yet funny end credit scenes ever, and when Hagrid returns to Hogwarts and everyone greets him with a round of applause, once again, I'm not crying. Shut up. In many ways, Chamber of Secrets is worse than Sorcerer's Stone, with way more plot holes, way more Deus Ex Machina moments, and entire plot points ripped straight from that first film. But at the same time, there are plenty of things that this film does that improves upon Sorcerer's Stone. The story is more engaging, the effects are much better, and the villains and threats are much more intimidating and, well, threatening. I guess just for sheer entertainment and fantastical world building, I do prefer Sorcerer's Stone to this film, but just because I think that film is more awesome doesn't mean this film isn't awesome. And seeing as how one of my biggest faults with this film was its multiple similarities to Sorcerer's Stone, I think it's fitting that this film earns the same grade as Sorcerer's Stone. So, with that said, I'm going to give Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets an A-. Well guys, thank you so much for watching, and let me know in the comments down below, just like Harry in this film had an identity crisis between Gryffindor and Slytherin, what would you say is your secondary Hogwarts house? Or your rising Hogwarts house for all of you zodiac sign aficionados? For me personally, I would have to say that my secondary house would be Ravenclaw. The house of wisdom, learning, and creativity? Sounds good to me. Thank you all so much for watching. You guys are the best, and don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon down below to stay up to date on all things movie, all things TV, all things nerd.